Hello and welcome to the podcast where everybody's wearing a shirt or hoodie or anything
Way!
similar, but where everybody wears clothes. How is that? So professional. This week we have
Great
Brian
stuff.
joining us. Brian, how are you doing and who are you?
Yes, who am I? Well, I'm fine, thank you. And thanks for having me. I'm Brian. I'm a principal architect of a company called Fellowmind. I live in Denmark. And I've been working with data and databases for the last, 2 decades, 23 years or something. So, yeah, that's me.
Okay. This might make it easy or hard for you with our next question because given that you've been in the data field that long, I mean, we've had that situation before, but having been in the data field so long, you have seen a thing or two, I guess,
Yeah.
because the data field is pretty wide, as we all know.
Yeah,
Could you pick a favorite data thing?
Yeah, I started with the SQL Server. I think it was 7.0 or something. So that's some time ago. And yes, I'm old because I'm gray and I'm also bald. But my favorite SQL, my favorite data thing. Well, that's actually a hard question to answer because I've been raised with the SQL Server. And of course, I love that. I love the way it works. I love the way the engine is. I love the way it has evolved through time in the latest version to 2022, and what we see there in performance gains, performance automatic things that are just happening without you having to do anything. But we still see people doing next finish on the installation, and then they're done. And no, they're not. So the SQL Server is still my favorite kind of tool, but I've beginning to look elsewhere also, and the Custo engine, the KQL, the Azure Data Explorer thing is beginning to evolve in my head and my curiosity, because it has some advantages over the SQL Server, and it is also a every time you use Azure in any sort of way, the telemetry of that usage is actually stored inside the Azure Data Explorer, and then you could see it through Log Analytics or wherever you are browsing that data. So that is becoming a favorite thing of mine, I guess. Next to, of course, the SQL Server and the engine and the performance tuning and the lazy writer and whatever things we have there. So
That was a very elegant way of like sneaking in five favorite things without actually giving
Agreed.
five answers. Nice.
exactly.
No,
That's a little bit narrower than our last guest who said their favorite thing was data.
Wow.
We had to narrow that down.
Yeah. Data and
now that
options.
Brian thinks of it, he wants to change his answer to data as
Two
well.
votes for data.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah. And yeah.
So
are there
does that mean
certain,
you're still doing a lot of stuff with the on-prem engine?
Sorry, once again, Ben?
Are you still doing a lot of stuff with the on-prem, with the box product? If that makes sense?
No, because our clients, I'm a consultant, so our clients is moving towards the cloud. We do still have some clients on premise, and we are trying to move them to the latest version. It is a public client, most of them, so they are somewhat reluctant to move due to, public clients. They are just let's wait a few years to see what's happening, and then they will move when the next version is going live. So right now they are on 2019, and they are happy there, and yeah. So I still have some box installations to support, and they are still great with all their SSIS packages and store procedures and what have you to build the data warehouse. So
2019 isn't bad. That could be a lot. That could be a lot older on-prem.
I was going to say for a public client, 2019, that's like chef's kiss.
Yeah,
the dream.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, but we still have public clients on 2000, and yeah,
that's not so much chef's kiss. Just saying.
That's just the box still working.
Yeah. Every time that I've worked recently with a 2000 box, just going to it, it's like so foreign now, isn't it? Like if you have to remote on, and that operating system and the query analyzer or whatever it's called is just
Exactly.
so different than like the modern tools. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And then starting to writing window functions just because you know how to do it,
Oh,
and then
yep.
it says no, you can't. So
What is this?
exactly,
How about a simple select?
exactly, with a group by, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, yeah.
However, performance
cool.
in SQL 2000 was, if it had window functions, it would probably never come back in an acceptable amount of, unless we're talking about very small data. So
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy
So,
to think of the amount of changes from that 2000 version to 2022, right? Like
yes.
over 22 years, I guess, of continual improvement, basically.
Exactly.
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still doing a
Pretty
lot
mad.
of on-prem and box product work, actually. And whenever someone's like, "Yeah, but integration services, that's so old and nothing changes anymore," like, yeah, if you've been working with like DTS back in 2000 and before, and see the first integration services came out in 2005, and then even from then, if you see how that product evolved, and same for analysis services, reporting service, etc.,
Yes.
or what exactly are you missing? I mean, those are just very mature products.
Exactly.
Give me the feature that you're missing. And yes, I would say there's a thing or two that I could think of that would be nice to have. But
Yeah. Have you given that thought at that the old DTS package is, and I know I'm not 100% correct here, but the DTS package is actually looking a bit like Data Factory. Because you cannot compare the SSIS feature with Data Factory because that's not doable. But I recently saw a DTS image package image, and then I said, this could actually be a CGA level graphics of Data Factory.
well, the
Without
Apache
other
Airflow
comparisons.
integration in DTS was not as good as in Data Factory, but otherwise I would
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
I
But
think
just
that's the main difference.
exactly, but just the UI and the lookalike. If
No,
if
no,
if,
I
if we
agree.
downscale Data Factory to CGA level, then you're good to go.
Basically, what Brian is saying, the UI of Data Factory is really poor, and I would agree. So.
You heard it here first, folks.
Exactly.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's not where people heard that first.
Oh,
No, I know.
I keep hearing that a lot.
I hope not. So
And this is
gotcha.
not NDA. We
no,
can
no.
share it with you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, Brian, when you're not playing with DTS packages or their newer relative, do you have a favorite non-data thing?
Yeah. I have two things. Now I'm narrowing down from five to two
Yeah,
things.
perfect.
We take it.
One is I ride my motorcycle. I love that. It is my freedom. It is my mindfulness. It is my place where I like to leave my minds and be on the bike and just go with the flow. And if you have ridden a motorcycle yourself, you know that you need to use both hands and both feet at the same time. So you cannot think of anything else than riding the bike. Then you'll die. So I'm still here, so I'm riding the bike.
No pressure.
Exactly. And the second thing is I like to do some stuff at home, build stuff. I just built a wooden terrace in the garden, and I also building things for a campfire area and new beds and so forth. So yeah,
Is that
Very
campfire
cool.
area automated in some way? Because otherwise, Jess is probably losing interest. We were just talking about automated gardening last week, so I think you will have to throw in something on that.
it is automated. I have my Philips Hue bulbs installed, so every
Nice.
time when the night falls, they turn on automatically. And if there are people at the campfire area, then they will turn up the light even more. So
Nice.
yeah,
Very cool.
I think this should all be part of that bigger Jazz and her garden project.
Yeah. So yeah,
Look out
I
for a
think so.
GitHub repo, folks.
Exactly.
PS gardening.
The campfire GitHub. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, and no, I'm not educated carpenter or bricklayer or something. I just do this on my own and try to figure out how things work. And yes, it takes way more time than a professional could do it, but it is still just a hobby level, and then it just takes time, and then yeah, I'm having fun doing it. So
Right.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's always
especially
nice
if
to
it's
do
a hobby
something.
thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
You don't necessarily need it to be fast, I guess. So
no, exactly.
Right.
It's just
It's more about accomplishing it, isn't it? And doing something outside, away from your computer. Apart from the
exactly.
automation bit, obviously, but
there's
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And the
So
automation
what
bit is running on a. Do you know Home Assistant?
Mhm.
Yeah. So just I got a
Awesome.
small Pi box over at my server rack, and then it's just running that. So
I use
Nice.
Home Assistant for my heating here at the office, so I'm also fully into automation,
great,
I guess.
great.
Everybody's doing
Well,
all
you
these
can add
cool
your
things, and then
yeah,
Yeah.
you can add your gardening right into that.
Yes.
yeah, but I don't have a garden.
Oh. Well, maybe you
That
could get like a pot plant, like a potted plant.
Exactly.
that would work. We have plants on the balcony.
Yeah. Pot
There
of
you
plants,
go.
and then
So
you
you do
could.
have a garden.
Yeah. So you could automate the UV lights on those, or the the lights to make some sort of room for great light in the evening or something. Yeah.
Well,
I
from my
feel like we're
perspective, that is kind
creating
of
some kind of grow farm.
semi-automated.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
What are you growing
semi-automated
in
in
them
the
pots?
cucumbers, bell
Okay.
peppers, and
Oh,
tomatoes.
Nice.
great.
And technically, it's not me growing them; it's Francie growing them. That's what I mean by have
Right.
it semi-automated. I don't have to care about any of that.
Amazing. You just
I
eat
don't
them.
think I'm even allowed to be near any of that, except when it comes to
Smart.
harvesting.
Mhm.
Then from time to time, and of course when it comes to eating whatever we just harvested. So
Of course.
That's the best
speaking
bit,
of,
right?
speaking of harvest, after all the hard work that you did in your garden, building that nice deck for, I think this is really nice, Jess. I mean, Brian is kind of the first one that's building a deck and a fireplace for us, so we also have a nice
Yeah.
setting before we actually kidnap him. So, way to
It's
go.
perfect.
Yeah.
We are hungry from the trip. You're hungry from the hard work. What should we be eating on the deck? What are you suggesting? What's your favorite food to share with us just before we drag you into the van?
Sure. And here I can narrow it down to one thing. It is
Oh.
slow food. Food in a. Perhaps I'm pronouncing this incorrectly, but in a sous vide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So food you put in a bag, you vacuum it, and then you boil it for a couple of hours, and then you fry it on a very, very extremely hot pan, and then you're good to go. That's my kind of food. Slow food where you don't have to rush it, and it is perfect every time. So that's and
Nice.
that is perfect for a campfire, because then you can start up the fire, and when you get all the flames down, and you can put on an iron plate or something, and then finish off the cooking there, and then you have dinner. So
Sounds great. And then we
Nice.
can make s'mores afterwards.
exactly.
I love it
Well-rounded.
when a plan comes together.
Me too.
Yeah, and then a cold
Nicely
beer, and
done.
then that will be a good day.
Until you get kidnapped, but right up until that point.
Exactly.
Plus, we're very nice kidnappers. I mean, let's not
Yeah.
forget about that. I mean, getting kidnapped
True.
by us is like. And again, I'm still not sure if it counts as kidnapping with all these people kind of deliberately entering the van and
Yeah,
bringing
we've
food.
given a lot of warning now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's even on the internet, and the internet does not lie. So
No.
True.
it makes
Very
perfect
true.
sense. So, Brian,
Everything
if
on the
people,
internet is true. So yeah.
I think that's actually a quote by Abraham Lincoln. So yes.
Gotcha, Ben.
If people want to catch up with you in person, any upcoming events where they might possibly meet you?
Yeah, I will be attending the Data Weekender in when is that? October, I guess. And I will be in August. I will be in a user group in Germany, in Hamburg, and hopefully also at Pass Summit in Seattle later this year. So
Awesome.
We should know any day now.
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
With that, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing a bit about you, for getting to know you a little bit, and we look forward to meet you in person at any of those events. If any
sure.
of you want to be on the show, let us know. I'll be more than happy to keep that list of upcoming guests and friends growing. Still think what kind of good food you can bring to us. That might actually bump you up the list. We should ask people first what kind of food they're bringing, and therefore
Smart.
prioritize.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that approach. Yeah.
Yeah, well, for you it's easy because you've already been here. So even if we would have said, well, we don't like slow food, it would now be kind of too late to uninvite you. But anyways, it
Exactly.
was a good choice. So we're going. Plus,
Okay, thank you.
that actually works for vegetables, for fish, and for meat. So there's
Yes.
something for everyone. So that also
Exactly.
makes things inclusive. That's how we like it.
Yes.
I also like that you narrowed it down to one thing that is a whole variety of things. So
I was gonna say,
That's
I'm
me.
not narrowing it down to one thing, which is a category.
I'm narrowing it down to food. I like food.
I like food. Yeah.
Well, delicious food. Let's be
True,
fair
true.
here.
Delicious and free food. That's also good.
Yes, indeed.
There's that. Now he's making us look ungrateful, but that's fine with me.
It's all
Anyway,
good. We'll cut this bit off.
That's fine.
we need some kind of bleep. I need to get that to the soundboard. Anyways, thank you again, Brian. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, everyone. And we see you all next week. Bye.
Bye, folks.
Bye.